As downloads take over, a turning point for the video game industry. Okay, I figured there'd be something like this that would happen at some point or another. Seattle, this holiday season can be remembered as a digital watershed for the game business. The moment when the old way of selling video games on discs in boxes finally gave way to downloads. The industry has been pointed in this direction for years, but the signs of a sharp turning point have piled up in the last month, as new data points have painted conflicting pictures of the game industry. On one hand, recent market research shows that physical game sales declined in November, and GameStop, a leading retailer, reported disappointing earnings that made its stocks tumble. On the other, game companies swear that things are going great. Big titles are selling records, and Sony, the leading maker of gaming consoles, says the latest PlayStation has been selling at a faster clip than any previous generation of the hardware. I find that to be a bit of a lie, but you have to make it sound good for the current era of financial prowess. The disparity is that a number of factors are now at play, and not as significant as the industry's march toward a future of games downloaded over the internet rather than in store are nearly all PC games. But the transition for console games, the biggest segment of the business, has been slower. Large game files could take hours to download, and they quickly fill a console's hard drive. Well, yeah, that's not going to change. I mean, no matter, even if you have a faster download online, or you just get it from online, that's not going to change the fact that it's going to take up a good deal of chunk of space. Let's see here. Now, faster broadband speeds and the bigger hard drives in the latest generation of consoles are reducing those obstructions. Quote, "It finally feels like the inevitable is becoming the inevitable," says Evan Wilson, an analyst who follows the game industry for Pacific Crest Securities. "It feels like this is the holiday season where it is finally having a big impact." Electronic Arts, which is the big game publisher behind Madden and Need for Speed, says about 20% of its new consoles are now downloaded, compared to around 10 to 15% last year. For other publishers, the number may be 25% or more. As a result, it's becoming harder to judge the health of the industry based on sales of the physical game discs. And then another research firm that tracks retail sales in the United States here showed a 7% decline in November game sales from the same month 1 year ago. This is beginning to be bullshit. Executives at GameStop caused a further stir when they said that one of the most anticipated games of the season, the Star Wars Battlefront thing, had missed their internal sales forecast during the quarter, and then the stock of Electronic Arts, the game publisher, fell 5% the day of remarks. The numbers were particularly striking because if game sales are ever going to grow, the time is now. The biggest games of the year have just landed on store shelves, including the Black Ops 3, the Fallout 4, the Battlefront, and the demand for them is running high among the holiday gift buyers like usual. And what is more is that the industry is in the sweet spot of the hardware cycle when the latest consoles from Sony and Microsoft are in plentiful supply and the prices are coming down. And game publishers are cranking out titles that better exploit their capabilities. And that makes sense. One factor in NPD's decline in game sales is that the research firm does not include games that are bundled with consoles, increasing popular function for buying the machines and the software, which thus negate the purpose of the whole digital download. Otherwise, you can't have a bundle pack that happens. It would be a bundle download, and that'd be a waste of money and a waste of time. It's clear digital downloading is becoming a bigger deal, says Michael Pachter, an analyst at Wedbush Securities. After GameStop's comment about the Battlefront rattled investors, a senior executive at Electronic Arts, Peter Moore, said at a conference that there was no weakness that is perceptible yet in the title. He reiterated that the company's previous projection that it would sell 13 million copies of the game during its fiscal year. GameStop has increased its own presence in internet-delivered games. Those changes have not moved the needle much. The company's digital revenue in its last quarter amount to less than 2% of its total revenue. There are limits to how much the company can sell digitally, though, since Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo operate the online portals from which the games are downloaded. GameStop has tried to diversify beyond video games by acquiring one retail chain that offers the wildest products in order to do that with, which I guess was Apple. But Joey Morning, which was a spokesman for GameStop, says the company's in-store staff members provide guidance for customers, and through its trade-in program for used games, customers and gets credits towards purchase of new games. Customers cannot access that expertise downloading a game, nor can they trade in a digital game for currency that can be applied to the purchase of their next game. Thank you, somebody's making sense here. Eric Lempour, Senior Vice President for Marketing at Sony Games Division, agreed with the idea that many gamers want to talk to store staff members before making a purchase. The convenience of downloading a game directly to a console is appealing too, though. A lot of people are finding it easier to buy it online. It's open 24 hours a day. While all this is nice, yes, buying a game online is good, but when you're done with that game, it's just some shit that sits on your system. You can't turn that back in for credit. So thank God there are some higher ups in the video game and entertainment industry that are systematically thinking about the pros and cons with this. Because last time I checked, you can't turn in something that's digital.